Salute my Mets fans, brothers and sisters. What's good? It's good to see y'all, man. So it's just kind of like a weird pop-up. Not really didn't have anything planned. Jay the Chosen One, man, will be here in a few moments, man. He got the link. He gonna pop up, man. We gotta have a talk, Mets fans. Yeah, we gotta have a talk. Like, and not like a talk, but I'm talking about like a talk, right? Like today, the Mets lost to a team that looked and dressed like the Montreal Expos, right? Like legitimately, I don't know. I don't know what happened today. There was a wild pitch thrown today, and when it was thrown, I was like, "Yeah, that's typical of where we are. That's typical of where we are, right?" The Mets have lost 9 in a row, right? I'm checking ESPN right now for the Mets' current record and where the Mets are in the standings. The Mets are in last place, and they're 7-13. The Mets have lost 9 in a row, right? Now, while it's early in the season, and we shouldn't, um, while it's early in the season, and we shouldn't be throwing guys away and all that stuff. 1/8 of the season is gone. 1/8 of the season is gone. Don't sound like a lot, right, man? 1/8, that means you have 7/8 to catch up and be dominant, right? What if you don't have the roster to catch up? What if you don't have the strategist to catch up? What if David Stearns was a bad hire? What if this mix of play? I don't know. I don't know what I'm looking at, everybody. I don't. Carson Bench looks like he's in over his head. He probably is, but so what? But Francisco Lindor looks like he's in over his head. And the fringe guy, MJ Melendez, guys like that, who you thought we probably wouldn't necessarily need, come to find out we need these guys already. We need these guys in April. It's April, and we're already using MJ Melendez. We're already using Tommy Pham. In fairness to the entire Mets conversation, I know Juan Soto was hurt. But if Juan Soto was here, he can't correct the mistakes that Lindor makes, or David Peterson makes, or Sean Manaea makes. The built-in excuse is Juan Soto is hurt. What does that do for our power outage? Where's our big bopper at? Legitimately, this team looks like a team searching for answers, and they know that there are no real answers. This team looks like a team searching for answers, but they don't know the questions. I legit, I'm aghast at, this is a bad mix. I know it's early. But 20 games in, the Pittsburgh Pirates are better than the New York Mets. I know it's early, but the Washington Nationals are better than the New York Mets. I know it's early, but the Mets have the same record as the abysmal Colorado Rockies. I know it's early, but your New York Mets, or our New York Mets, I know it's early. Listen, I know it's early. I know it's only 1/8 of the season that's over with, right? Just 20 games, whatever. But after 20 games, these Mets are the worst team in baseball. And we have 1,000 excuses. Oh, Jay, what's good, bro? How you doing, man?
What's happening? Yo, I was giving you time. I figured it would be lengthy, but I was ready right then and there. My bad.
Bro, our New York Mets are the worst team in baseball right now, bro.
Interesting.
Here's the thing. It's not that we're good at home and bad on the road, bro. We're 3-6 at home, and we're 4-7 on the road. Right?
Pretty even.
It's not that maybe the pitching is great and something. Nah, the Mets don't score. Nope. The Mets have scored 69 runs through 20 games, bro. 20 games, bro. Your team is averaging 3.56 runs a game.
Sure. Go ahead. I mean, you rocking? I want to hear you out.
Bro, I'm going to say something, and it's going to sound inflammatory and disrespectful, but I don't care. If the Mets lose tomorrow, somebody's got to get fired, bro. Because the thing is, you cannot have a 10-game losing streak on your record and think you're going to make the playoffs. Some things are too much to overcome.
Yep.
I'll equate it to, for those that watch New York Giants football, right? You finally find a quarterback. The team looks like they can maybe sneak in and win a wild card if everything goes right, and then the quarterback gets hurt. And it's a hole that you cannot dig yourself out of, because before he got hurt, you didn't have a quarterback. He actually saved the season, and then he gets hurt. And this is what I'm saying about the Mets. You cannot expect a team to have a 10-game losing streak in the season and make the playoffs with one of the highest payrolls in baseball. And then as the owner, next offseason, to spend more money. These things don't make sense. You can't have a 10-win season. You can't ask Cohen to spend more money, because this will be the third time that he spent crazy money and everything backfired like Wile E. Coyote.
Got it from Acme.
Yep, the Acme Cannon Company. Yeah.
The Acme hole in the wall. You know, you know me. I could explode at any minute, any game, foul call. Why didn't? Let's stick to baseball. I got problems with probably 99 things, but April ain't one, and I'm gonna get into that. I don't like the fact that we picked the absolute wrong time ever to ask for the catcher to ask for a challenge or never challenge. I bet our challenge rate is low. How about that? Not only are we not winning, we're not challenging, and then when we do it, we're wrong. There's just a moment in time in life when things just go wrong. Because I watched a game today where we hit the ball squarely, and one of the people, well, actually, that we both love and wanted to be on this team, robbed us a handful of times, and Nico Horner, and we rocked the ball. We also watched. I'm just going to give a couple of the ups because the rest is down. We watched Noel McLean come out and say, "Hi, everybody. I'm Nolan, and I will be your ace for the next 10 years if you do it right." And if they do what they're doing with everybody else and these kids, he should be signed right now for 10 years for $100 million.
Yeah.
Because that's how they're getting every young person right now. I watched decent games. Then I watched a game by a man who, if doesn't get hurt, wins the Cy Young 2 years in a row and looked like absolute trash. But I figured out what his issue is. He's a Japanese pitcher. He needs to pitch 6 days. He is not that type of pitcher. He can't be that type of pitcher. He's proving it. They finally did what I wanted them to do. They put Benj up first, and they put Lindor in the 3. But then they messed up. And they didn't put Alvarez in the 4.
Who better fourth? Vientos?
Lou Rob, which
Okay.
I don't mind, but no, Vientos came in today as
Brett Baty.
for a bit.
Yeah.
So I've counted. I know that literally, if we go back and look at any show or any conversation or anything that we've ever had about this, you will hear me saying, well, if we only trade this guy, and this guy, maybe we could get this guy. Or what if we trade this guy and called up this guy? Well, it's officially that season. Let me say something else. This is not our longest in history, but in my history, it's the longest I can remember. Losing games, not scoring runs. You have you could spend money, right? I could give you a bunch of money and say, hey, this is our business, this is what we're doing. And because I trust you, you go out there and you may have thought you were spending it right, but you didn't spend it right.
Right.
Because Polanco is trash. And we were like excited. He's got power on both sides. He's a switch hitter. We got left, right, left, right, right, left, 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 right, right. We got Bo Bichette, best wrist in baseball 2 years straight. We got the young kids. Maybe Vientos comes back to the 2024 guy. Trash. Beatty is playing all over the place. We have a different lineup every single day of the week. But we have one thing going for us that we didn't have going for us in 24. We would have won the World Series because we got the 6th game, and that is pitching. It is time to take a deep look at this. First of all, the manager is not the right manager for this team, period. I'm going to give you examples why. We had a scrape, claw, get grimace, get OMG, get a song, get trumpets, and do everything to make the playoffs. That team was cohesive and didn't have a lot of big names on it. Didn't have a lot of big names there. OMG, we just came off the Gourmet years. We had all those. What's my man with the long hair? I like that. He always got into fights. He was from the Reds.
Oh, I see his face. A tattoo guy.
Yeah. I loved him. And he was on DH. He hit 10 home runs, maybe 12. Jesse Winker. Jesse Winker.
Yeah, that's him. Yeah.
Yeah, Jesse Winker. We didn't have that everything lineup. Okay, listen. It is easy. I look at the Dodgers and I say, first of all, Cohen messed up by saying he wants to be the East Coast Dodgers. Well, if you want to be the East Coast Dodgers, you got to defer all of your signings. Number two, you got to make it, which I think he's trying to do by rebuilding that entire area, taking the garages down, making it not an eyesore, making it a place where you could go and live and hang out and do things pregame and go to bars and restaurants. And the Dodgers have the allure and the weather, right?
Right.
And they also have somebody called Ohtani. But there just seems to be something that has been off ever since the end of 24. I've never seen a manager on more thin ice in my life than this cat. And I'm going to tell you why it's even worse than we think it is. You do the same thing and go to the last day. The ball is in your court. You need Cincinnati to lose and for you to win, and you can't get a effing run.
You can't, and the players look like they didn't even care.
They didn't care.
That's the part that burned me up. That last game of the season, they didn't give a shit.
Right, and we were playing nobody, and we could have crushed them. And that other team was playing their nobodies.
The Florida Marlins.
Come on. Again, by the way. So, then you treat a man, whether or not he was going to take the DH or not, right. He deserved to be treated a little bit better. And something has happened in that bullpen, in that dugout, during that time that's very obvious. Lindor looks like he's out there like a zombie, forgetting how to turn double plays.
Yeah.
I'm not going to pin one of those throwouts at home on him. That was the third base coach's fault when he sent them on that one. Yeah. But there was one on there. Then there was another one he gets picked off third.
But the thing is can you blame the third base coach when the dude has more triples through 20 games than he had? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like what? Like I don't understand it because because like sending them, I'm like, no. And then after you see it, you like, okay, I wouldn't have done it, but
I mean,
I can understand.
right. Okay. So like the way in we are down, I believe at that point we are down 2 runs. There is one out, I think. If he does, or maybe it was 1 run, but either way, you crack a double, second and third. It was 1 run. I'll tell you why. If he doesn't send them, it's 1 run. It's second and third, and now all you need is a sacrifice fly to tie it.
And who was hitting Jorge Polanco? Was that the Jorge Polanco out that you're referring to? Where he looked back? The
very next one went to to right field in the air, which made it hurt.
Yeah.
Not to make it worse, we don't have a definitive first baseman.
No.
Our $800 million offense is hurt.
Yeah.
And I'm going to continue to call him that until he proves me that he could play the field. But our $800 million offense is hurt, and we need him. We need him for that because our bats are cold. This is not really about all the other stuff, even though the truth is we also suck in the field. We'll take out Lou Rob. I'm going to take Lou Rob out of that. He's been doing very good.
Yeah, he's fantastic. Yeah.
All right. I watch it. It's going so bad. I watched Tyrone Taylor have an error today. That's like Lagares not catching a ball. We don't have a first baseman.
Yeah.
We are not turning double plays.
No.
Simeon is a well-rounded baseball player who should be playing 40 and above fast pitch softball, bar league. Lou Rob dropped 40 points in his average in the last 10 days. He went from 280 to 247.
I think that's Mendoza's fault.
I think it starts with Mendoza, period.
Yeah, it's Mendoza. Yeah. Like you gotta let guys cook, and if he cooking, why you moving his spot? I know Soto is hurt, right?
Yeah.
I know Soto's hurt, and there's nobody in the Mets lineup or Major League Baseball you can substitute for Juan Soto, right?
Mm-hmm.
But damn, dog, now it's to the point where he got Bichette batting second.
He doesn't know how to improvise. He doesn't know how to make things change. You can take a Soto-less team and a Pete Alonso-less team and still figure it out.
Right.
Right? Most teams are home run hitting teams that, do that. They can hit home runs, but they do other things. I'll give you a couple of examples. Yes, the Dodgers have a ton of mashers, right? But they also have a ton of guys with high averages, a ton of guys who get on base, a ton of guys who move people over.
They put the ball in play.
Just right, exactly. But their issue is that they don't have pitching. See, that's why I'm not as nervous. And so when you said this time of year, I'm going to disagree. I think, thank God it's happening right now. Because we're only 5 games out. This is 17 games in, 18 games into the season. The sky's not falling, but this team is not right. It's not the right team.
Yeah, it's 20 games in, bro.
Yep.
20 games in, Think about it, 20 games in, and you're on the verge of losing 10 in a row. That means the wheels fell off your team, bro.
We're on the bird. Peterson's pitching.
Yeah. Oh, you was shit.
Peterson go out there throw no hitter tomorrow. Watch.
Man, if that wind is blowing out tomorrow in Wrigley, bro, you may as well, hey,
run rule.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, bro.
You know, the good news is though, we are hitting the hell out of the ball. We just seem to be hitting it at people. We are not getting placement like we do when we are on point. On point, we hit in the gaps. On point, we drive it down the line. On point, we hit high choppers.
Yeah.
We're just not. There is something going on. You could see it in Lindor's face. Senga cannot do this 5-game thing. And I think it's time for a handful of people have run their course. Yeah. I remember sitting back watching McNeil and Starling Marte and Nimmo and Pete Alonso. I'm not going to count Diaz because he shit on us. Pardon my language, but he just shit on us and dipped and didn't call us back. And that was that. And he wanted to go to the warm weather in LA and hang out on the beach. That's what he wanted to do.
What if he just didn't like Mendoza?
And that could be another thing. He could have not liked Mendoza. You know what another thing is? For a long time, I blamed Soto for not, wanting to take the pictures at the end of the thing and whatever. I mean, Soto just wanted to play baseball.
Yeah.
And win. However, I think it's both. You gotta fit in. At the same time, you want to set a standard for everybody that you believe should be the standard. And you just coming off a gentleman's sweep in the World Series in a park. So when he picked us for the same amount of money that the Yankees offered, and they said it was because they gave him a box for his family. Yeah. I said, that cannot just be it. It can't just be it.
That's not it.
No, because he could afford the damn box.
Yeah.
He could buy the box.
Yeah.
Right? He could make a deal with Cohen and say, hey, look, I want this box right here for my family.
Or with the Yankees. He could have just
bought or he could have bought with them too. Yeah, right? He could have did that.
Yeah.
So there were, and with the Yankees, I know they've changed a lot, but the whole shaming and all that other stuff, you would think he would like that type of thing. I think he came over here, saw that we were about winning, about hyper and happy, and we had the players. We're about spending. He saw Cohen compared to Steinbrenner, and he's like, this guy's gonna go out all out for everybody. So I'm not going to sit here and blame Cohen on nothing, because the man is not only trying to not only made the park better, prettier, screen bigger, but got Soto for almost $1 billion. He's wrapped up him for 13 years. He is a perennial machine.
He extended Lindor on site. You remember, right. As soon as he got here, he was like, yeah, me and Francisco met with me and my wife, and we were working on a thing long. You remember when he got here, Lindor had 1 year left? And he was like, nah, that's not going to be an issue for us. Bro, you remember he went out and signed Max Scherzer and then got Justin Verlander the next year?
Yep. Remember, and then got rid of them and bought and kept them and bought it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not about money. There was no one they picked the wrong people. Just because, I'm going to tell you why they picked Polanco. Polanco had the best year of his life, which only happened to be 26 home runs. It wasn't a whole bunch. There was no stolen base. There was nothing. but he came off a team that went to the
ALCS.
Thank you, and were mashers.
Right.
Then we have all these shortstops, all these third basemen, and he went out and got a shortstop third baseman because he had went to that same place against him,
right,
and is known for having the best runners in scoring position average that you could have, best risk in baseball, but is known to be a non-defensive, not so great in the field. They sold us Polanco was a first baseman right away. He's the first baseman and he's in a DH.
Bro, soon as we started this, I was like, Bichette's not going to work at third.
Right, and Polanco's not working at first.
Right, right. Beatty should be at third. I was thinking the whole time. Vientos is not a defender; he's a DH. Right. Right? Why are we putting Brett Beatty in right field when you know what I'm saying, you jerking him around and all these things? And the one thing we know about trust is it requires consistency. Like in order for you to trust something, that thing has to be consistent. Right? That's just what it is. Because if it's consistently bad, you know it's going to be bad. And no one is about trust. If it's consistently good, you know it's going to be good, right? You can trust it, right? When things are always in a state of flux, you can't trust it because it's not predictable.
It's right. You're right. Go back to every show. Every show I say, why isn't Beatty at third? Why isn't Bo playing DH? Go to every show. Why isn't Beatty, who's a third? And then I said, okay, Beatty did one of the hardest things you could do. He went third to second.
Yeah.
Then why did we trade McNeil for a second baseman who was old?
Yeah.
Who had a bunch of good years mashing the ball, but he can't run fast enough to throw a double play.
Right. Right.
The man, I'm going to tell you right now, May 1st, he's evicted. I'll tell you, if they get swept by the Cubs, he should be evicted. Him and the man I met that he brought with him, the bullpen coach.
Yeah.
They all got to go. The third baseman, that doesn't tell the guys to get back, that sends them inappropriately.
Yeah.
Got to go.
Yeah.
Bo Bichette, nice meeting you.
Yeah.
You know why he and Polanco, nice meeting you.
Yeah.
They're a great package to push, except Bo Bichette's 3-year. Well, he has that opt out and he has that $5 million walk away. But that if he opts in, that's $33.33 million to suck for 3 years.
Yeah. Hey, but let me make you laugh real quick.
I hope so, please.
Guess who's leading the majors in stolen bases?
Say that one more time.
Guess who's leading the majors in stolen bases?
Guess who's leading? McNeil.
Jose Ramirez.
Oh, don't. That didn't make me laugh. That made my heart hurt.
I just wanted to put a rock in you.
You know, he was my favorite go after always.
I know it.
And we'll never get him now because he not only did he say I've been to Cleveland, right? I've been in a lot of places. So Cleveland is they always dissing it on TV. They're always doing this, that, and third, whatever it is. Cleveland has a couple things going for it, but it's definitely not a spot you say, I'm going to run to Cleveland. Let's go on vacation to Cleveland.
Nah.
No. If you got a cousin, you say, why you live there?
It's like I do have a cousin in Cleveland. I have a bunch of family members in Cleveland. Shout out to my cousin Rico. He's the
Shout
first.
out, Rico.
Yeah,
what are you doing out there?
Yeah, he's the first person I ever saw with a Lexus. You remember when Lexuses first came out?
Sure do.
He had one. He had one. I'll never forget. We were just arguing in my grandma's yard. Just real quick, true story, y'all. We were arguing in my grandmother's yard. Like this is before Lexus come out, and he was like, "Yeah, man, I'm gonna get me a car and I'm gonna sell real estate in Cleveland." And I was like, "Cleveland don't have real estate, fool." I was like, I'm gonna get me a red Sterling and I'm gonna be driving all over Manhattan. You remember Sterlings? Remember the car Sterlings?
Of course.
Yeah. Mind you, I never got a Sterling, but he did get his Lexus.
My first sort of luxury, because I was always going for the either the trucks or I told you I had the Monte Carlo, I had Civics, I had all that. My first one was remember the Infinity?
Yeah.
When the Infinity, I believe the Infinity came out before Lexus.
I think so. I think they came out around the same time.
Around the same time.
But Infinity was first, I think.
I think Infinity was first. Because Infinity, I'll never forget, had a lot. And they had the Q45, the J30. I can remember all of it. And I had to have one. And I got one. It was good. But so was my Mitsubishi Diamante. So, like, you know what?
Was it green?
No, it was pearl white with rims, and it was.
You were a street guy. Of course, it was pearl white.
Oh boy, I was. Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna refrain from saying a lot of things today, but yeah.
So,
but you know what?
White, it just drew me back into a place, a conversation.
Exactly. I'm not gonna be one of those guys who goes live with all the worst things they could do.
You're not gonna be Fat Joe?
No, God. I watch some of these people. Then what did I do? Okay, well, so not only that, but everybody, right? We just watched McNeil take us to task with I'm just going to call them the Athletics. They're in the middle of in between. Where are they?
Yeah, I don't know.
Who knows?
But the Rancho Cucamonga Athletics.
Right, exactly. I'm going to go with the Cucamonga Athletics, and he just took us to task. I've been warning people about that team. I've been saying to everybody, it's time to we have to get people from that team before they get signed. Tampa Bay as well. They were in talks with Yandy Diaz for first base, and everybody was like, well, he's not Pete Alonso. Okay, we don't have Pete Alonso. Big deal. Yandy Diaz is playing very good baseball right now. Tampa's in first place, and we could surely use Yandy Diaz instead of Bo Bichette
in batting average.
Say it again.
Guess who's second in Major League Baseball in batting average right now? You just said his name.
Jeff McNeil.
Yandy Diaz.
Oh, Yandy Diaz was first for a long time. I didn't know that he dropped.
Yeah,
okay.
No. Somebody got hot.
Yeah. I'm telling you, not only that, but he's actually playing. I watched a whole clip on him because I still think Tampa's not going to stay solid.
Yeah.
And we still have a chance with Yandy Diaz. Because they have a financial problem.
Yeah.
And that's where we don't have.
Yeah.
So also Polanco, there's something called WRC plus. Okay, that's weighted runs created. Weighted runs created plus. Right. So I'm gonna explain what that is to all you guys in the chat and all you out there, all you Mets fans out there, everybody else. And I'm sure some of you know, but it's a comprehensive baseball statistic that measures a hitter's total offensive value. It incorporates both creation and external factors. It normalizes league average to 100, with higher numbers indicating better performance. For instance, 120 WRC plus is 20% above average. Okay, so 100 is is the is the where you want it. It's the highest you could go for this thing. If you, for the average, you go higher, that means you're better. You're doing better. Polanco is 66. That's 34 below. Bo is 64. That's 36 below. McNeil is 113. And Pete's 102. Pete said on his way out, I want to be a Met. I want to be a Met forever. Let's see if they basically said, let's see if they feel the same. He said that. And I know that the talk was, hey, Pete, eventually, we're going to need you at DH and we're going to move people around. And he wasn't with it. The man just became the all-time home run hitting Met all time. Darryl Strawberry tried to help stop it out. Everybody. Why did they not want Pete, who hit that clutch 3-2, I believe, slider off of Devin Williams to bring us to the Eastern Final? Like,
yeah.
Why? Why did they disrespect him? Because he didn't want to be. All right. So let him stay at first until it becomes evident and have another talk with him.
The thing that frustrates me in that, because that's a great question, right? Everything you mentioned, I agree with, right? The WRC plus, the impact, these guys with no transition period. These guys are doing that with no transition period.
None.
Right? They just got over there and started hitting.
And in a different league.
And right. Because here's the thing. Because if we're using the transition period for our guys, how come they went to a different place and are thriving? Right. And then plus at the same time, how's your first base defense looking right now without Pete?
Exactly. And they lied to us about the first baseman. He's a DH.
And they took the money that they could have gave Pete and paid and comboed together some guys when they could have just gave Pete the money.
Give Pete the money. You know what? I'm gonna say this again. I'm not even gonna go and talk about Diaz because I believe Diaz was out the door unless he dissed us. We dissed Pete. Diaz dissed us.
Right.
You could have said, "Hey, here's 75 million." Maybe he would have undissed us. But I'm just saying, I don't give a crap about him because he played us. So, but the rest of the guys didn't. Was it time for McNeil to go? Maybe. Was it time for Nimmo to go? I don't know. I'm watching them play with the Rangers.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't time for those guys to go. Maybe it was time for them to take lesser roles. And mind you, I'm changing my stance. I'm letting it known publicly that I'm changing my stance on those guys 20 games into the season.
Yeah, right, because right.
Right. And
Mm-hmm.
and so and y'all pardon me for that, I'm human, right? I like to give credit when people do great things. When I just like being upfront. It's just part of being a man, right?
Right, that's all.
Here's my thing. Could you have kept McNeil and Nemo and just traded for Luis Robert anyway? Yes.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Could you have added Dante Bichette? I'm sorry, Bo Bichette anyway and kept Jeff McNeil? Yeah, you probably could have.
You could have if you wanted him. You could have.
Yeah, because ultimately, Carson Bench, if things played out the same, assuming that you sign Talkman still gets hurt, whatever, Carson Bench still gets to play anyway.
But right? He wasn't supposed to start the year.
Yeah. So if Talkman gets hurt, if Soto gets hurt, Carson Bench is still here in New York and playing every day. Right? Yep. Now, what you don't get though is you don't get the protection. You don't get the protection for Beatty, Vientos, and Alvarez, right? You don't have that lineup, that real line. Now you depend on Beatty, Alvarez, and Vientos, right? I mean,
big time.
Yeah.
Blue Rob. Here's the deal. I think. And I've been thinking about this all day, and I couldn't wait to talk about it. I think that
earlier, I was trying to get you to get on earlier.
Yeah. I had I get into another
obligations.
Yeah, obligations. Yeah. I think that they are trying. That's why we don't see Tom. That's why we don't see instead of Peterson. It doesn't matter if we have a left hand, but I know. Listen, I went and did my research. There's about maybe 10 teams without a starting lefty. All right.
Right.
Out of that 10 teams, 8 are with either are competitive and very competitive.
Okay.
Okay. Two of them are first place. 3 of them are second.
Okay.
And the other ones are tied and they're competitive. So to put Peterson second, we knew what they were doing by making him right, left, right.
Yeah.
We obviously know at this point it's unfortunate because he is a very special pitcher and could have been our goal scorer for a long time. But I believe with all the injuries, the way his body is, the fact he needs 5 days rest in between them, we're not giving it to him. You are watching the downfall, the complete downfall. Now, the other ones were injuries. This is the complete downfall of Senga, who looked fantastic prior.
Yeah.
He was hitting 99 the week before. Yeah. He couldn't hit 95 the other day.
Yeah.
So he obviously needs that 6th day.
Yeah.
So now what I've been doing lately is counting who's going to be traded and why. Well, if we're not going to get another, if we're not going to get rid of any of our farm system, which I don't believe we will, then we're going to have to make moves to get pitchers here And I believe they're trying to save face with Viento and Beatty because Viento and Beatty were supposed to be it.
Yeah.
And they ruined them by putting them up, putting them down, putting them up, putting them down. And they almost did the same damn thing to Alvarez.
Yeah.
Thank God he didn't. The man's hitting the ball square, hard, whether it's at people, it doesn't matter. The fact he's hitting it. But we are at a point right now where there is trades to be needed. There might be call-ups to be needed. People have to leave, and it starts with the manager. The manager first.
Who just
You know, the funny thing is, Sean Manaea, what they did to Sean Manaea, time just slips into each other. Was that today? Yesterday? When it was, yeah. Okay, so we go down. We have an opportunity to come back. We come back, and
then Sean Manaea.
Who pitched today? Who pitched today?
No, that was Tobias Myers that happened to.
Wait, was yesterday game Senga's game? Was that the day? It was, right?
I can't remember.
Yeah, that's how they're just gliding into each other because it doesn't really matter. Right. It's like a weird thing right now. It's like I can't even remember the days. I can't. Look, because I analyze sports for a show, for a pod, for what we do. I find myself watching full games when I want to cut them off in the fourth.
Yeah.
Because I want to know. I want to tell you what happened on that day. I want to explain something to somebody that might not have seen it or saw it, and they think they saw something else.
Yeah.
But I have now that Sanger game. I cut it off after Sean Manaea had 2 fantastic innings.
Yeah.
He has become a long reliever, but he had one magical game where he went 5 innings and pitched amazing.
Yeah.
That was called 3-card Monty.
Yeah.
All right. That was definitely not who he is or what he can do or all that at all. All right. But I will say this. To leave him in there after 2 innings of Brosbon comes in, Brosbon's been locked down. Comes in, strikes him out, the 2 batters, because Sanger only goes 3 and 1/3. And he comes in, walks nobody, strikes someone out, gets out the inning. Manaea comes in. The first 2 innings, he holds them down.
Fantastic.
We score a couple runs.
Right.
We get bases loaded. Right? Vientos is now in the game after he does the pinch hit single. Bases are loaded on one of the plays that the guy should have sent him.
Yeah. Bases
shouldn't have been loaded. That guy should have been sent.
Yeah.
And Vientos grounds into a as usual double play, and they bring in Sean Manaea. If Sean Manaea hasn't been embarrassed enough, yesterday was the final day of the embarrassment.
Yeah.
And so, but how do you get rid of a Sean Manaea who's who was supposed to be a top three pitcher in your even your fifth pitcher. Who cares? A starter, a 3 year, $78 million guy. And how do you do that and get rid of him? How do you trade half of these people? How do you trade Blanco without buying out something? How do you trade Bo Bichette without getting, like, who the hell wants Bo Bichette?
I think it starts with Marcus Semien.
Simeon's got to go.
I think because if you trade Semien, right? Because remember, the reason why you traded Nimmo was not just because of its Nimmo, but you want to get rid of those extra 2 years at $25 million.
Right, the $25 million, and also he had the noodle arm that was a little bit of it, and he had some weird base running tendencies, but he everything else he did very well.
Yeah, and so you trade Nimmo with 4 years left for Semien with 2 years left. I think now the play is trade Semien with 2 years left for somebody with 1 year left, right? Like,
right,
I think
to bridge the gap,
to get that money off the book.
Basically, right, you get the money off, you bridge the gap, and then eventually you bring up
your guy.
Your guy, number 33.
Yeah. Yeah, and so that's why I think you start with Semien, because for all he's super fundamental, and he's a great clubhouse leader.
Great,
but you never hear how great leaders are in the clubhouse while you losing. You only hear about that when you winning, bro. He held it together. He did the such and such, bro. When you losing, bro, nobody's talking.
No one gives a crap about that stuff.
Yeah. So my thing is with Semien, I think it starts there, because if you open up a second base position, you could slide Bo Bichette to second.
You know what? Hold on, because I'm gonna walk over here. What I really want to do is a real serious search. Not that I, am going to get in touch with David Stearns anytime soon. But I will write him a thorough letter with ideas, and I will, and one of them is get Semien off the books, and get back some of your mojo,
Because here's the thing. Here's my thing. Semien's batting 210, bro. We could have just not traded for him and let Ronnie Mauricio do that.
I'm listening.
We could have let Angel Acuna do that.
100%, and he should be, because he's starting for the White Sox, and he had like 2.5. Anyway, he won me money today. He did great today. He played well. They won 9-1. He's a daily player. I feel really good for him. He's batting ninth on a bad team, on the White Sox that are trying to put it together, that need pitchers and need certain things.
Yeah.
Man, but they ain't gonna take it. Look, you can't get him back now.
No, they're not gonna do Semien for Acuna.
So there's gotta be realistic thoughts and realistic trades, realistic moves. And I don't want to see our guys rushed. Like, I don't want Ewing to be rushed. I don't want Tong to be rushed. If they feel he needs the time for that, because I really believe they're really, really, really trying to do the 3-card or the watch this hand over here as I do this with this hand, because they're just I don't know if they threw this year on purpose or they really thought that Lou Rob, Bo Bichette, Polanco, and of course Soto, Lindor, and then these guys were going to have big years with either Beatty, and Vientos are going to come back, and Alvarez was going to slug. I'm not sure. Remember, in the beginning of Soto's injury, we were still smoking. We were doing all right.
Hey, that's a great point you make, bro.
Yeah. I'm not sure. Hey, just give me a second.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a great point you make about my guy. Like, it's just a lot of stuff to think about. Just a lot of stuff to think about, bro. Like, what was the plan? What was did Stearns put forth a quality effort in trying to turn this thing into something? Right? Like, I don't know, bro.
I'm gonna respond to that really quick. I'm gonna say that he put in for our very first guy to be Polanco. I don't have too much of a problem with that. If you were going to use Polanco the same way you might have used Acuna, but with a little bit more power and put him at DH only.
Only, okay.
That part I don't have a problem with. But now you're loaded. Now you're trying new people everywhere. A bunch of people have great springs. This is what kills me. Here and you know I talked about this. Here's what killed me. We have a great spring out of the guy you just mentioned a few minutes ago, the good pickup from the Cubs.
Talkman.
Yes. So there was two guys on the Cubs that I wanted to pick up that I knew they were going to let go. One was Talkman, and the other one was, I can't remember his name. He's a first baseman. He's the one I wanted. He ended up with like 30-something home runs the year that, I don't know if it was Ian Happ got hurt but did they say to us, hey, look what Seattle did. We just brought over Polanco.
Yeah.
And then half-ass go after Tucker and Bellinger? Because they certainly didn't roll out the red carpet as they did for Soto.
No.
And at the same time, am I really, really mad that they didn't spend $600 million on Tucker, who hit his first home run versus us?
Yeah.
It's really tough. But we didn't need to do all that. We could have made trades. We could have made moves. And I'm going to take back what we said about Pete. He should have stayed.
Right.
If you didn't have you know what they say about a job, right? And quitting a job. If you're going to quit a job, what? What do they say?
Make sure you have another one first.
That's it. So if you're going to get rid of a first baseman, Freezy, what are you supposed to have?
Make sure you have a first baseman first.
That's it. That's it. And we didn't. Then they said, look at Clippard. Clippard had a horrible spring.
He needs seasoning. The tools are there. Like, he's gonna be a player. The tools are there.
Mm-hmm.
Time. So,
yep.
Yeah.
I'm just afraid that they're going to I think that he would be in a trade for Yandy Diaz.
Ooh.
They're going to need somebody there one day.
Right.
And I believe Yandy's a little bit older than we think. Remember, I thought he was like 30, 31, 30. Right. So, yes, listen, man. We are going through a terrible time. The
bro.
reason why you keep a Tyrone Taylor is because he is an excellent outfielder. But what people don't realize is he can't hit above 200. Though he had 2 out of 3 today.
Yeah. So
Uh,
you know what that means for the next 12 at bats.
nothing. Right, exactly.
Right.
Don't you wish there could be a PH as well as a DH?
Yeah, I wish.
Oh no,
Good.
a PF, a PF,
Yeah.
a pinch fielder. You
Oh,
just get the,
designated fielder.
you just go out there and field. You don't do nothing
Yeah.
else. You
Yeah.
don't get
Yeah.
the hit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, listen. I believe that when the Arizona Athletics, listen, let's not sleep on the Athletics. That was not an easy team to beat. They are young, they are slugging, but we are better than them. The one thing we have going for us, and this is why I want everybody to hear me, on the 18th of April, we're not even we're 10 days away from a full month in. We're 20 games in. We have played 19 games. The sky's not falling. However, things have to change. People have to go. Trades have to be made. People have to be cut. It could start with Simeon. It could start with Shomania. It definitely has to start with the manager.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of that, really quick.
Yeah.
Do you go out right now? Do you think they're looking, because they're going to do something? I cannot see Cohen, and I told you the whole story about his I talk about it all the time about his father-in-law who's really in charge and not really in charge, but has a bunch of money, the big Mets fan.
Yeah.
The wife.
Yeah.
Do you get yourself a serious, old school Davy Johnson, Jim Leland type of guy with these guys?
No.
Or do you say, hey, Beltran?
Because there are two easy answers to this, right?
Yeah.
The two easy answers are: one, you go get a Ron Washington, Dusty Baker.
Can't
right?
get either one.
Or
Can't get either one.
Yeah. Or you bring in Carlos Beltran. Right? What the Mets want to do is they don't want that guy. The Mets don't want a player that can manage a game by using his gut, making the right because the Mets are all in on analytics. They don't want a Tony La Russa, right? They don't want a Whitey Herzog. They don't want a Joe Torre, bro.
They don't want a manager who manages with his own brain.
They want Joe Madden. That's who they want.
I would love a Joe Madden, though.
They want a Joe Madden, right? Remember how Joe Madden, you never knew who was going to play anywhere, any game?
Yep.
Remember
what he did for them?
The year he started the game with like 5 infielders. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Remember he started that. Remember he said he created this thing called starters. Like a guy would come in and pitch 2 innings, and then he'd take him out and then pitch another guy. He pitched like 2 innings.
Sometimes 1.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think that's what the Mets want to do, right? And
for like the Peterson part?
No, the Joe Madden. They want to be the Tampa Bay Rays with money.
Right, but I'm saying like you're not just talking about the pitching, obviously. No, that's what I'm saying. Okay.
I'm talking about the way you construct your lineup, everything.
But correct me if I'm wrong. That's how we started out this season. We didn't need to do that with our pitching, but we did everything else the Tampa Bay Rays did with under Joe Madden.
Yeah.
Small ball, bunting over, singles, hit the long ball. I'm telling you right now.
Hitting the ball the opposite way, not pulling the baseball, hitting the ball
Right.
hard the opposite way.
A ton of opposite way, a ton of gap hits.
Yeah.
Good defense. Except at third and first. But
yeah. And sometimes on the plate.
They weren't even that bad because even then, Blanco was looking okay. He would get in front of the ball. He would tag guys out. He's really not as bad as people think. It's Bo that is. But when I went to opening day, I said to my son on the way home, that was either the best thing or the worst thing that ever happened to Carson Bam. And that day, the wind was blowing out.
Yeah.
And he hits one out. And he has hit the ball to the wall a couple times. But yesterday or the day before, he hit one the other way that hit the wall. Just missed a home run. And his swing was completely different. And he has been hitting it differently now. And I like it. And I want him to remain while he's up here in the first hole.
Okay.
Even when Soto comes back. But I do not want Bo Bichette as my cleanup hitter. At all. At all.
Hey man, I gotta run. I gotta run, man. I gotta crash. Man, I've been up for a minute. Hey man. We definitely gotta get back to it today at some point, bro. I got so much stuff on my mind.
Yeah, me too. Me too. A lot.
Chat, I'm ready to fire the batting coach. Chat, I hadn't even brought him up yet.
I'm ready to fire the people who bring the bats.
I'm ready. I'm ready to fire the bats. Right? Like,
yeah. Listen, I think that we got on. It's the time, and that we have a lot more to talk about. We're gonna share it with you. The game is at 2:20 today.
Yeah.
Versus the Cubs. Forgive me, it's not Peterson. If it's a restart, that means that it's the beginning. That means Peralta will be pitching today.
Okay.
If Senga is our fifth, then Peralta's our first. It should be Peralta. I would like to see what he does with our lineup today.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe Alvarez leaves off. You never know. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Thank y'all, everybody, for coming through and rocking. We're going to get out of here.
Definitely.
Peace, everybody.
Let's go Mets.
Man, I'm so frustrated, man. I'm